Hello, Matt. I thought I would also don my little spaceman headphones so we can look like we're two spacemen out in space talking to one another. Um, I do want to thank you for coming out of semi-retirement. I know many people enjoyed seeing your happy face, and especially at the end of your video. You're just so cute. And thanks for the kind words. Those were really appreciated. And I also enjoyed your honest approach to the questions, and I appreciate your answers. I felt that they were very well thought out. You made your argument clear, and one reason I subscribe to you is that I have always felt that you had this thirst for knowledge, which is very important, and it's sometimes rarely found in humans today, in everyday life. I know if you go into a specific area, or if you go into a place that has many humans, you'll find people of like mind, and you have found that here on YouTube, and that's cool. And I encourage you to continue. And continue your quest for knowledge. It's very important. And I think if you do that, and everybody else does that, hopefully we will come to this meeting place where we're all on the same page. I did use the word spirit in my other video, and I did use that purposely to, not as a Mikey that I slipped to the atheist. I used it to bring you out of semi-retirement. It was a ploy. A Mikey is not a ploy. A Mikey is something I'm trying to get you to do something you don't want to do. But maybe this is the same thing. If one of my cats go underneath the bed and I want to get my cat from underneath the bed, I don't go in there and yank him out and pull him out. I'll take a feather, and I have this little special get out underneath the bed feather. And you play with that little feather, and the cat will come grab it, and you've got the cat. So I guess I knew that if I use the word spirit, the connotation of that is that I'm talking this godlike spirit. And perhaps our terminology of that word is a little different. If I used the word energy, would your response have been any different? If I said that there is an energy within humans, and if I use the term creative energy as opposed to an animal's natural energy or instinctual energy, would your response have been any different? That would be something kind of cool to observe and maybe do an experiment. Maybe you bring up Skinner again and he could put you in a box, and never mind. Now I did want to clear up the logical versus illogical argument, because I know there's a lot of confusion over what I'm saying here, and that I'm saying that animals are a logical species and humans are an illogical species, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that nature, animals, any living organism, including bacteria, follow a logical pattern in nature. And extinction is just a part of this pattern. It's predictable. What I'm saying is, the reason that humans are illogical is because we work against nature. We do not live in tune with nature. So that is the definition of logical and illogical. It doesn't have anything to do with mathematics or our intelligence. It has everything to do with, I guess, a human perception of the world. I mean, if we came from another world and we looked at this planet and we were looking at it in a logical way, would we see that the animals are living among this ecosystem in a logical pattern, the way that they should be. And then we would see this other entity, this other species called human, and we'd say, wait a minute, they're not being very logical. Why is that? So that's my definition of logical versus illogical, in the sense that how we perceive our place in the natural order of things. And I hope that clears that up. But the debate about natural selection, logical or illogical, I've read the comments, and I think using extinctions is not a very solid base for illogical or logical. To say that animals are illogical because they go extinct is to deny that there are patterns in nature which are very logical, can be predicted, can be observed. Animals, plants, living organisms, they exist in a set ecosystem. And that set ecosystem is a product of their climate and environmental variables. Okay? If those physical characteristics of climate and environment change, animals are naturally selected to survive or go extinct based on what changes, physiological changes, animals make. A good example of this is beaks on birds. You have a woodpecker that has a long skinny beak that will go into a tree. Over time, that beak had to adjust to the tree, the variable of the tree. Now also the feathers on that bird were changing or evolving based on the climate in which the bird lived. Now the difference here is that humans artificially create these changes. We don't do it through natural selection. We don't do it in the logical pattern of nature. And that was my intent for saying logical or illogical. We have humans that have lived up north for thousands of years, and there are some physical characteristics that are different between northern people and southern people, or equatorial people. We can see those differences physically. But if I take a person from the equatorial regions and I move them to the northern climate above the Arctic Circle, there are artificial means of making that person comfortable and being able to survive there. That's why I included a picture of a person standing on top of Mount Everest. I could have easily taken that same picture of the person who was on the moon, totally out of our environment, totally out of our ecological constraints that we have here on Earth, put them on another planet. We can artificially create an environment for that person to live in. That's creativity. That's not thinking within the patterns of nature. Let's give an example of what I'm talking about. If I take this red grape, and it's a red globe grape. I love these things. Yeah, they have seeds, but oh well. And I take all of the red grape plants and I move them to the North Pole. They will die. They will become extinct. Because the environment, the climate of the North Pole will not support these grapes. Without some type of artificial intervention. Now, if I take a human to the North Pole, or if I take all the humans to the North Pole, we will adapt. We will find artificial means to survive. In fact, I would submit that we would change the North Pole to fit our needs instead of us succumbing to the climate or to the environment that we're in. That, to me, is the difference. Animals, it's rarely observed that they're going to do something artificially. They do it through natural selection, yes, but they don't do it on their own creative intelligence. I didn't want to use the word spirit. Now, it's easy to see how the process of natural selection, the process of animals adapting and having all these different tools given to them by nature as a design by some, great designer in the sky. And given our propensity to anthropomorphic perceptions or reasoning, it's easy to see how God was created. That I've always said that we had to have a creator for our creativeness. But there's a problem here. And the problem is the question that I posed in my Star Trek video. And that was, if we evolved from a natural world, would we not still be in tune with the natural world? As animals are, as plants are, as any other living organism that we observe are. And would this thinking irrationally that we can come up with a means outside of the laws of nature, or an illogical way of saying we are going to adapt to nature no matter what nature says to survive, is that a part of the natural selection process? Because as far as I can tell, we're the only ones that have done this artificially. That's why I really don't think it's wise to use extinctions as evidence to animals thinking irrationally. They are constrained within the laws of nature, the laws of the natural selection process. I don't believe that bacteria and insects control their own outcome, control their own destinies. And I could be wrong, but the evidence is not there to say that I'm wrong, that they don't. Humans have the potential to do exactly this. We can subvert nature and destroy ourselves. Or we can subvert nature and travel to the stars, and we can do whatever we choose to do. So anyway, I need to wrap this up. I've had about 25 minutes worth of material here to take from, and I apologize for not getting to the Skinner box and Darwin's hamster. I understand the Skinner box, and I understand observing animals to make a correlation to humans. I don't know if that's the best model to use. I think observing humans and then correlating human behavior to animal behavior is a much better experiment. But I just want to say again that I appreciate Aborted Soul coming out of hiding and making a video response to my video. It was very much appreciated, and I do respect you very much. I respect any atheist on YouTube, and I also respect those who believe in a higher being. I mean, because I think there is something there. There is something there. Do we know what it is? No. We don't have all of the information. We don't have all of the data has not been collected. You know, Aborted Soul did, and I want to mention this real quick, Aborted Soul did mention he didn't want to get into quantum mechanics. Well, my friend, I think quantum mechanics may hold some answers to what I'm asking. So, if you want to do something big in your life, because you're bright enough to do it, get into quantum mechanics. Get into that subatomic realm of existence, because that's where the energy lies, and that might be where we find the answers. So anyway, I'm sure this doesn't solve all the problems or answer all the questions, but it's just a small take on the whole issue of natural selection, creativity, existence, a lot of big subjects there. So take care.